Welcome to another episode of Young Entrepreneurs with the Green Roof team. Today we have a special episode. We have two team members here to join us today.
My name is Prem. I've been on the Green Roof team, I think, since its inception. Does that sound right? Yeah. I am the lead on the autonomous irrigation system, as well as doing a few other things around the team. You know how it goes.
My name's Schulte. I joined the Green Roof team a couple months after it got started. Was there for their first big idea workshop, and been working on it ever since.
And today we'll have different conversations from computer science to the irrigation to solar and to other ideas. So guys, before we dive right in, would you both like to pitch to the audience why they should listen to this episode and the podcast in general?
Yeah, so I think this episode specifically is important because we have two really bright individuals, those two, and then I'm just kind of chilling here. But no, the experience that we've had over our time with the Green Roof team has been really enlightening. I think kind of all the podcasts have really highlighted that as bits and pieces of the experience we have, and so I think it's important to kind of take from that.
I honestly think that you should listen to this episode because we're all friends, so we're going to just mention things that nobody else could ask about each other. We've been working with each other for so long that we know how we work, the ethic that we work with, and the things that we've done and the things that we can improve on. And I think we're going to touch on that a bit.
Most definitely. So talking about team camaraderie, do you guys have any memories? Actually, no. So talking about team camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Talking about team.
You're good.
Here, we're going to teach you camaraderie.
No, can't do it. Communist
Unity.
It's like you calling the plant on the roof the Kanye plant.
So talking about teamsmanship, do you guys want to talk about the space that we have that we can just go in and work in?
So the lab that we work in, it's not very large, so we all get to know each other when we're in there. But we'll have people stopping in just in between classes to come say hi. We'll work on things in 5 minutes before our other class. We go in there, study, help each other, learn topics for our classes, and overall just a great place for us to hang out, teach each other, and build up our skills.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool because we have paper sheets all over the walls. We actually have this giant whiteboard right in front that we can use, that we've written down important stuff on, and kind of the things we found in there have been really useful. We found a soldering kit at the beginning that was useful for the irrigation system, and I don't want to say it's super modular, but we can move stuff around, and it's kind of got everything we need. And for me personally, I like it because there's no windows, so I can focus really really effectively because I don't need to look at the outside. But no, it's a really cool place, and people are always coming in and out, so we're always having friendly banter conversations, and just a great place to get things done.
And there's so many different things in there, from the solar panels to the trash turbine to the actual turbine. I know we were taking apart the solar panel about a week ago.
That was an adventure. We were safe about it, though. We were very safe about it. But I'm still looking forward to just completely tearing it apart. We finally got a cell taken out of it, just clean. So now is the fun part, just smashing the glass and working on everything else that is part of that. But that solar panel was really cool to get, and we want to thank CH Electrical for donating that.
So what's the panel itself? Could you talk a bit about the process of tearing it down?
So we first started by just taking a knife and cutting through the adhesive layer on the back that kind of keeps it together. This is a tempered glass solar panel, so you obviously can't really get at it from the front. So we started tearing that out. Found out that if you're not super careful or you don't use heat, you're just going to tear the cell and the glass off with the adhesive, which wasn't great. Then Nelson figured out a way to use a heat gun and knife to just slowly go at it using the back of his knife, I believe. That way he didn't tear through it, and finally managed to get one off. So It was really, really neat to see it. Now we're working on separating the cell from the adhesive and glass. I think we're using toluene solution. I think that's what we decided.
I believe so. And that will easily just be able to eat away at the electrical adhesive. So yeah, definitely just being able to go in there and play around with different items, like with all the wiring and the PCB boards.
Yeah, it's a fun time. There's a lot of PCB boards. There's always, so like on the lab, there's two halves of it, right? There's one on like the right side, we have like a computer station set up. I think we do CADing there, right? And on the left side, there's like just a general two flat tables. We have a soldering station set up. And earlier, like last year, that was kind of where I would set up. So there would just be wires everywhere, multiple Arduinos, which are these little microcontrollers, like getting that all set up. And that was, so it was always a mess, but it always looked cool. Like if you didn't know what's happening, you're walking in, you're like, wow, that's real engineering right there.
I remember one day I walked in and there was just dirt all over the table.
Yeah, that's a fun story because I was testing soil moisture, and so I had to like put the soil in the cups, pour water, and then the sensors we have measure specifically like voltage in the soil, and that's kind of a way to measure the soil moisture. But once that's done, then I had to dry it out so I can reuse it, and so like that dirt, I kind of just like put a paper towel like there, put all the dirt on it, and then put a floodlight on it that we had. The lab has a floodlight, surprisingly. Didn't know that until I needed it. And so like that was one way that I kind of worked with. Like that's another reason why the lab is cool, but just like doing really unexpected ways to go about doing things.
Yeah, I don't know if it was before or after that situation, but I remember one day you said, I need dirt samples, and the only thing we had in the lab were mugs. So you grabbed a mug and took it outside.
Oh, I tried.
But the ground was so frozen.
I remember that. I remember that. Yeah. That was when we just got the sensors, and I was like, I really want to try it out, but I didn't want to go and go up to the roof and get the soil. So the best second place is right outside, but as it turns out, it takes a lot of tools to actually dig that up.
The amount of like innovation we needed just to get to where we are.
Oh yeah,
quite impressive.
A lot of iteration.
I mean, we've definitely come a long way from using mugs to dig to putting that panel up, or putting the turbine up. Sorry, we're putting the panel up later this year, but I mean, we've definitely come a long way.
Yeah, just being able to like keep on digging deep and finding what else there is and going after it. Okay, so like in the grand scheme, you guys want to talk about how you're using more of your computer science background with the green roof team?
Yeah, so I can go first on that because I think the CS part is really evident in all the different parts of the project. But for the irrigation system, it's particularly important because for those who are unaware with the irrigation system, essentially we have a Raspberry Pi, which is like a mini computer that's powering our Arduinos, which are essentially like microcontrollers, and the code on there, what it's doing is the microcontrollers are getting data from sensors, reading that data and formatting it, and then sending it back to this Raspberry Pi. Once it's there, then it's stored in a database. And along with that, we're scraping weather data, weather data and some other stuff. And so all of that require we had to kind of code that and make it so it can work with multiple Arduinos because there's not a lot of support for like a multiple Arduino system out there. And then scraping data from the web and all those things. And then on top of that, we're going to use this data to create a predictive machine learning model. So all that, lots of code there. And that's irrigation, but I know it's also applied in solar and wind.
Yeah, so I actually haven't used my CS knowledge a ton. I've actually been learning more about the electrical engineering side, how to make PCBs, how to wire things up, stuff like that. And I'm really appreciative of that because I don't learn that in my normal classes. So it gave me a better appreciation for the difficulty of putting these things together. And also, I learned a lot for my other classes. Like it helped me with physics. It helped me with my computer architecture class because I started to learn the ins and outs of these things. So really, Green Roof has helped me more with my major than my majors helped me with Green Roof, which I find really cool.
And that's the best part, that ability to go hands-on, learn more about it with others not in your field and not in the same technical areas. Then you can grow and then blossom, then just absorb it all in. Kind of like a flower.
Yeah. You're not wrong.
Not wrong, not right, but closer in one way than the other.
Definitely not a biologist.
Cool. So within Green River Team, we're just not in Carbondale, even though the actual space is here. Have you guys made connections with anyone outside of the team? Outside of Carbondale on the team?
Yeah, I mean, for example, our friend Gustavo, who, used to be in Carbondale, but now he's in Dallas. So made some connections with him, as well as our pretty much our electrical head, Alex.
Yeah.
I would say. Alex has really helped us with a lot of different things for irrigation. He helped me set up the circuitry for that, which, as a CS major, I'm not super familiar with electrical. And I can, with what Steven was saying about learning those different skills, it's very, very true. But definitely having someone like Alex on the team was really helpful. Even though he wasn't here in Carbondale, he helped out tremendously with that. And then, we have friends in the Netherlands that have been helping out with some of the data collection stuff. And so a lot of those connections that we've made just by, really being passionate about this project and people wanting to join in.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Alex has been the person I connected with most outside of Carbondale, because I'm not great at physics, and everything that he was working on was physics based.
Yeah.
And so just sitting in like our meetings and listening to him and asking questions helped me learn more about Green Roof. He told me every time I was wrong and exactly why I was wrong, which is great. And it helped me with my classes as well. So Alex has definitely been a big influence for me on the team regarding people that aren't in Carbondale.
And he was also a big help learning how to design the PCB side, right?
Super useful.
Yeah, he's certified actually to do it.
Is he really?
I think he actually got his certification, so he can actually like design for companies and stuff.
That's crazy. I mean, like, he taught me how to do like a basic PCB, and we have the PCB for the solenoid valve, which is going to control the water. That was like custom built, and so he walked me through that process. But I didn't know he was actually certified to do that.
I think you mentioned that.
Wow, that is cool.
Nice. So how was having Alex, a certified person, be able to help break down the learning curve on the PCB design?
He definitely knew how to make it as simple as possible, and it was still confusing. No, Alex, he's really patient with people who are asking questions. Like, as long as you're engaged and you're trying to learn, he's really understanding if you don't understand something, and he'll go back and just cover things over and over again until it finally starts to click in your head, like, this is what you're supposed to do. He guided myself and Ichiro through parts of the PCB design and how to do it. And then when we did it wrong, he just went through and he's like, okay, so this is why this shouldn't happen. And we're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. So it's definitely been great, because I know that there are a lot of people, especially like high level professors, who, if you're in their field and you do something wrong, like, they just get upset about it. But he's been really great about explaining things thoroughly and just taking his time to make sure it gets done right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had like a long call with him, kind of setting up the solenoid valve PCB, and he like showed me the basic rundown. He's like, you should create this on your own, and then we'll reconvene, and I'll kind of walk you through like if this is good. And so doing that, like, he'll kind of show you how to do things, but also let you experiment with them, which is I think how a teacher should be. And so having someone like that, and especially since he's certified, you can trust that his knowledge is like something that's really accurate.
Has there been anyone else on the team or outside of the team that you guys reached out to for mentorship and advice even?
Yeah, I can go with that. I forget his name, so this is not a great look. But who was that professor that we met with?
Dr. Watson?
Yes, Dr. Watson. So me being a computer science major, right? I don't know a lot about agriculture, and agriculture is not really my strong suit, but I really saw an opportunity for this project. So I had to learn more about the soil medium and kind of how the proposed system that we had would play with weather, for example, and like what the proper placements of the sensor should be. And so we talked to Dr. Watson, and one of the suggestions he brought up that was really useful, the sensors we originally had were two-pronged, and they were, I forget the term for it, but they
conductive or resistive?
Conductive.
Yes.
I think that's what it was. No, they were one of the two. It's between conductive and resistive, and one of those wasn't as durable. And the goal of our system is to create something that we can put up there and leave it so that way it doesn't need to be maintained, and that it would last as long as possible while also being, in case a part fails, that's easy to replace. And so he recommended these one-prong systems that weren't that much more expensive, and that were much more durable, and had a better job of capturing data. And that was really useful. On top of that, with the placements, and kind of talking about how sort of what variables would be similar and what variables would be different. And that really was important to me when creating this system, because there was so much that I didn't know that just talking to him really helped me out setting that up.
For me, I haven't really had any outside mentors other than Alex since joining the Green Roof team. But back in high school, I was part of 4-H, and so I got to meet a lot of really cool people, one of whom was a master gardener. So I volunteered every year as a assistant superintendent for like our shows and stuff, and I got to talk to him for 2 years in a row, talking about gardening, best practices, stuff like that, which is part of why I was interested in the Green Roof. And then my dad was also a farmer, so I'm always talking to him about, hey, we're doing this, we have this going on. And now he works for Boeing and he's an engineer, so I also get to talk to him about all the really cool engineering stuff. And he challenges me in my thoughts and what we're doing too, and I get really great discussions with him about it.
Cool. So from your father, the master gardener, and Dr. Watson, do you guys see any common traits on what made them a good mentor or be able to give good advice?
Experience. I think that's probably the biggest one for me. You don't want to go to somebody who just got their degree and ask them really high level questions. You want to go to somebody who's been in the field for a long time. My dad has been working for Boeing for an extremely long time, since before their merge. And the master gardener that I met, he'd been gardening for over 50 years. So I think it's a lot about experience and just knowing your field. You can talk to anybody who's a computer science major that just graduated, and you'll probably get the same answer from them if you ask them a question. But if you go to somebody who's been in the field for 40, 50 years, you're going to get an answer that's probably a little bit different or a lot more detailed from them.
Yeah, and I think building on that, because experience is definitely one of the most important things, is like their ability to kind of recognize the general idea of what you want, and then being able to make suggestions based off of that, and kind of being able to really guide you. And you ask questions, and they're able to really answer them in a way that makes sense. Kind of the mentors that I've worked with, I would say, could also be really good teachers. Some of them were teachers, like Dr. Watson, I'm pretty sure was, yeah. And if Alex wanted to be a teacher, I'm sure he could, but things like that where their experience is really important, but their kind of ability to guide you. They're not just telling you the information. They're really putting it into perspective and putting it in a way that makes sense to you and what you're trying to do.
And they're asking the right questions to make sure that you not only understand, but you're thinking about how to go about solving.
Yeah, exactly.
Sweet. So do you guys see yourself as being mentors to anyone on the team, or in the past, or in the future?
Well, I mean, since we've started to branch out the irrigation system a little bit, I've been trying to, anyone new that comes in, trying to kind of get them up to speed, and if they have any questions, really help them with that. I know another team member, Olivia, I was helping her with some of the solar sensor stuff, and really like a lot of the coding stuff. If anyone has any questions, like when we were doing the wind, when we were collecting wind data, for example, I know I was helping out with that, and I don't want to say really mentoring per se, because it wasn't really quite a mentor session, but I can definitely see myself, being a mentor for really anyone in the team. And that's the nice thing about our team, is we all have really different skill sets. So we're able to kind of know what people know, and then ask them questions based on that, and then they can ask us questions and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. Nelson, for instance, last year taught me how to solder alongside Gustavo. And so this past year, I've been able to teach other people. I helped Olivia. I helped Thomas, who's actually a pretty new member, teaching them how to solder. It's really just about taking the skills that you have and passing it on to other people. So I wouldn't consider myself a mentor, but rather just a bridge, really, for these skills. And they come in handy in everyday life, too. I mean, Tanner, who's on the team, he recently clipped the cable for his turn signal. And so we all get a message in our Discord, can someone please solder this? Because, I mean, we have the ability to do these things, so why not do them? And I think that's a really big part of the team that we've built and the trust that we have with each other.
Just being able to go in and ask for help, know what everyone's good at, and just be able to share what we've learned to one another. It's a nice large network.
Yeah.
So with only a few months left in the semester and many of our undergraduate careers, where do you guys see all the different projects leading up to that you are on?
So my big project right now is the solar project. I work on wind turbine, but most of my job comes a little bit later once we get everything in person. So for solar, I just see us finishing out the intramural competition. There's actually a meeting today discussing our designs. We have a lot more to talk about later tonight, but I see us finishing that out and getting our own solar panel up on the roof alongside our wind turbine, and really just finishing the year strong, making better connections. And I'm very sad to see my friends leave, but seeing them off into their jobs.
Yeah, that's I'm one of the people who are leaving, so it's definitely going to be interesting. As for the irrigation system, we're finishing up the research this year, probably presenting that at the Research and Creative Expo. I think that's what it's called. And there's some future plans for it that I don't really want to dive into right now, because we're still figuring out the details. But it's not ending once we're gone, that's for sure. And I know a lot of the projects we have are going beyond what we've done here. That's a fact.
And if you're interested in learning more about what we're talking about and what the future entails, we will be having a live stream event this April the 21st at 5 p.m. Central. So check out the YouTube channel and find that live stream as we get closer to the date and find out what happens next.
Yep.
So going into what happens next, how do you see the vision that we built for the green roof from the beginning get carried on to now, and then where you see it down 5-10 years down the road? Maybe not that far, 3-5 years down the road.
Yeah. So I mean, I remember when you were there, like coming up with the vision, and kind of our goal was to just turn this underutilized space that we found into something that could be useful for students, something where anyone could go up and be like, I see like a chance to do some research or like something cool here. And I think we've definitely accomplished that, and we've kind of had that space been well known now around campus that this is a place where research can happen, and the projects that we've done have really shown that. And so, and in terms of that vision, the way I see that kind of expanding is what we've left as kind of the foundation for new people to walk in and be like, this is really cool, and maybe come up with their own ideas, or contribute to what's already there. And I think definitely on the multidisciplinary part, which was a really important part, a multidisciplinary kind of international system that we've set up. I think that with the way that kind of we're expanding, I think that vision will continue to grow even further.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, my thoughts on the vision from the beginning were bring awareness to the possibility of renewable energy. And I think that we have accomplished that goal and even more. We've gotten some of the highest people here at SIU to recognize the possibilities of renewable energy integration on campus. They understand that this is an important step for the university and also just the world at large. And I think that really helped us gain the support that we needed to continue up through now. And I think that support's going to carry through the future, and hopefully we get to do more of this.
Most definitely. I know that from all of our renewable activities, from solar and wind, it's made quite an impact and made the news a few times, more positive than negative. Like, for example, wind turbines killing birds, which is a false statement, quite false. Actually, it's a known fact that cats kill more birds than wind turbines do. It is actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Makes sense.
I don't think I've ever seen our wind turbine go fast enough to hurt a bird.
Among anything, it's just gonna give a nice like love tap, and it'll keep going on its way.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's red, like it's bright red. I don't think a bird's gonna come close to it.
Now, if we made it clear, it's another story.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing is that all wind turbines should just be red from now on. Be bright and flashy, that's how people get interested in things. If it's right in front of you and like really catches your eye, so there's my petition. All wind turbines should be colored red.
I know the new ones are gonna be carbon fiber, so
Carbon fiber,
they may be black.
that's actually really cool.
That'd be really cool.
Why are they white normally?
I'm white because it's usually the standard, and it's the most, in terms of like aesthetics, it's the least conflicting.
I guess that makes sense.
Because if they're all like red or green, it'll be like how you see like a red car or a green car every once in a while. It's kind of like an eyesore. Imagine living near it.
Imagine driving down 57. You know that wind farm? They're all like different colors. It's like a little rainbow.
Honestly, that would be awesome if it's different colors.
Cool. It'd be like a tourist attraction.
I think we have our next project.
There we go.
Yeah, painting wind turbines, not making them, just painting them.
Just painting them.
Yeah, but in like the grand scheme, I know like with a new program Gustavo's been developing with internship, we have students from California, in England, and the Netherlands part of that, and they're developing their own wind turbine theoretically and going through our calculations, seeing about more of the optimization of it all.
Yeah.
So it's spreading out, it's growing, and we'll just see where it goes from there.
Okay.
And English, not our strong suit on the team, at least not mine.
Yeah. We're engineers. We write in numbers and equations, not words.
Basically.
Yeah. I write in code. So there you go.
Cool. So coming towards the end of this episode, do you guys have any topics or any lessons you would like to share with the audience?
I think the last thing I say is, as someone who's been on the team since pretty much its beginning, to see like the growth is really incredible. When me and him were kind of bouncing off ideas for this podcast, definitely wasn't on the agenda. And Wind and Solar were such a like they've kind of been part of the plan, but to really see them realized and going into that lab and seeing that the generator right there and seeing the solar panel, like the solar cells right there, it's really kind of it's kind of crazy, and it really shows that you can do anything, if you put your mind to it. And we wanted to look into sustainable energy. We wanted to create a place where that can thrive, and from the beginning to now, I think we've really accomplished that more than anything. And so I would say that if there's any lesson from our project, is really that if you have the idea and you really want it to happen, you can really start whenever and kind of research into it, find the right people, and make it a reality, I would say.
I think the biggest lesson I've learned is don't be afraid to ask questions and always try to push your limits. Our buddy Tanner, he always says the only dumb question is the one that you don't ask. So it's better to ask a question than just assume that you're right or assume that you're wrong, because you never know. The questions that you ask may change the world. So just always push your limits, ask questions, and don't be afraid to try something new.
Cool. Thank you guys for hopping on the podcast again. And thank you to the audience for having a listen to our conversation and other episodes. And with that, we conclude another episode of Young Entrepreneurs with the Green Roof Team.